Wow, I'm doing a lot of reviews lately. So I just finished Dragon's Dogma on Netflix. I'll just let this talk. And I remember hearing the name, and I feel like I've heard that before. And I remember a while ago, I don't know how long ago, but I watched a review that someone did. Again, I don't remember whose review I watched, but they were talking about Dragon's Dogma. And I don't know if they were actually going over the game itself or if they were doing another review on something and then related it to that game. But yeah, I know it's a game. I do not know if, like, how much this is based on it. I don't know if it's like a retelling of that game. I don't know if it's just the same universe. I don't know if these are the same characters from that game. I know nothing about the game. I've never played it. I just know, or I remember them saying that they liked the game and it was interesting, but the problem was it was very repetitive and you had to do a lot of back and forth on long routes and there's no fast travel and you couldn't skip it. So basically imagine Skyrim, but no fast travel. You get monster encounters on the roads and you know exactly where it's going to be after a while and you cannot skip any of it. And you have to do this shit multiple times throughout the entire fucking game. So I believe they said it was a great game, but that alone kind of ruined it for a lot of people. So, like I said, I don't know how much this is based on it. But, yeah. So Dragon's Dogma is about... What I'm going to tell you is basically the first episode and, like, the whole premise of the thing. And then I'll probably go into spoiler territory. But what I'm going to say right now is you'll see it in the trailers. There are multiple trailers. I haven't seen them all. I've just seen the one that plays when you hover over the fucking, the little series picture. I have a way with words. So there's 7 episodes, and Dragon's Dogma is about a man who loses everything after a dragon attacks his village. So the village is destroyed, everyone in the village is dead. He watches this kind of kid they kind of sort of adopted, who was an orphan. He sees him get eaten by a fucking dragon. His wife, who is pregnant, very pregnant, like, she's gonna give birth soon probably, is literally incinerated. And on the bright side, she probably died quickly. I hope. And he, dragon rips out his heart and eats it and basically says, if you hate me, come get me. And that is the premise of the story, is his heart's been ripped out and he wants revenge and he wants his heart back. He becomes an arisen, which, by the way, they don't explain what the fuck that is. But this girl shows up, she's called a pawn. Again, they don't explain what the fuck that is. Nay, get out of stuff. Nay. Nee. I don't know where she's finding these fucking kibbles. I keep cleaning them up. The only thing I can think of is she'll bring kibbles on the bed and I'll go to, like, you know how you'll kind of, like, lazily make your bed, you'll kind of, like, flick the blanket. Well, I don't know there's stuff on the bed, so that goes flying and I can't find it later, so I'm assuming that she's somehow finding that. Anyway, so yeah, it's basically a revenge story. Now, it is a 3D animation, and to be perfectly honest, I don't really like 3D animation, because a lot of the time I think it looks nice. Like things like Pixar or DreamWorks, that kind of thing. It doesn't really bother me, the 3D as much, because it's a lot more fluid the way they move. But like in this, it's not like they move so like it's bad or anything. Like the artwork of it is very pretty. It's just, it annoys me in the sense that, have you ever watched a dubbed version of something and you happen to notice their way their mouths don't quite line up with what they're saying? I mean, they do try and do that to the best of their ability, but you're never going to get it perfect. And then if you notice that, you can't unnotice that for a while. That's kind of what it reminds me of, is they have that very just not right movement to them. So even if it looks pretty, it's kind of like, I don't, like, I can like it, but I'll never really love it. So I'm already like, oh, fuck, it's a 3D. I did like it. I didn't see the ending coming. Now, what I'm going to say next, I will eventually go into spoilers, probably. Unless I just decide to end this early. But this will, like, it won't ruin the ending for you, but at the same time, it's going to give enough of a hint that you kind of know what's coming. So, if you want to avoid that, it's 7 episodes, it's a good show, but it's rated TV MA. So expect nudity, expect violence, maybe expect some swearing, expect like what you would expect under that fucking category. I can't tell you everything that's in it because I don't remember everything that's in it. And I'm so used to like this kind of stuff in shows that some of the stuff that may like be really out there for other people like kind of go over my head. Like a lot of people are like, oh my god, someone's guts, and I'm just like, oh, someone's guts. Like it's gotten to that point. But okay, so hopefully it's on Netflix. 7 episodes, go enjoy it. Now, for those of you who want just a little bit more information before I probably spoil things. If you like shows with a happy ending, I would avoid this show, because this is one of those shows where nobody gets a happy ending. And this another thing that would kind of describe this show is, have you ever heard the phrase, the path to hell is paved with good intentions? Kind of reminds me of that. And this is a lot of kind of like let your anger go or it will eventually consume you. That is the big premise of the show, is the two things. Like, it's kind of, what do they call it, episodic. Like some characters you do see reappearing, but for the most part, it's kind of just on his travels and he's encountering stuff along the way. The episodes, the titles are based on the 7 deadly sins, and it wasn't until around I got to the gluttony episode and the ending of that episode that I realized, oh, it actually did have to do with gluttony. Like, it's because I just feel like I've seen a lot of shows that use the 7 deadly sins. I think it's just like the name, and it just, I don't know why, it never really connects to me. They're like, oh, now they're basing it on that sin. I said before, a lot of things go over my head, and I don't realize shit until much later. Yeah, this is one of those things. I mean, thankfully, I think that was like, what, the 3rd episode? I think that was like the 3rd episode. Oh, thank fucking Christ. It was, sorry, Lord in vain. It's the 2nd episode. Okay. For me, that's better than usual. But yeah, we got wrath, gluttony, envy, sloth, greed, lust, and then the last episode is pride. So, this is a lot of he'll try and help people, but it ends badly anywhere. So now I'm going to spoil shit to kind of give you an example. Like, for instance, in the gluttony episode, they have this, like, noble that's taken over this village, and of course will protect you from the Cyclops thing, but in exchange, one of you has to make a sacrifice, and he takes their food, and, like, one of the kids, or one of the people has to be, like, the sacrifice for the thing, like, it'll eat them and leave them alone for a while until the next sacrifice has to be presented. Well, it turns out the guy is controlling it, and so our main character, Ethan, helps them out by, like, they're just kind of on the travels, and they happen to, like, be by a cliff and notice this giant Cyclops thing go by, and then notice the girl chained to, like, a rock. So he, of course, out of nowhere, jumps in to try and save her, and then brings her home, and of course they're pissed off, not because they don't want their daughter back, but because, well, she was supposed to be the sacrifice. So what's the retaliation going to be for her not being the sacrifice, you know? Like, you may have saved her, but you've fucked us all now. So they're grateful to have their daughter back, but at the same time, they're like, fuck, this isn't good. Like, it's good she's back, but it's not good, you know? And at the end of the episode, he kills the Cyclops, he saves the village, and essentially they all go crazy raiding this nobleman's house who has the shit ton of food, and even the kids engage in gluttony. Like, they're fighting each other over food. So he managed to save them, but in the end, it ended up worse. And that's a lot of the core elements of the episode. He'll try and help someone, or somehow end up helping someone intentionally or not, and then just not really getting a happy ending. I mean, there's one where getting a happy ending, the sloth episode, where she does live, but she ends up blind, but she does end up living. And basically he's like following the path of the dragon and then encountering people. And so there's no real happy endings. I mean, the happiest ending is, like I said, the sloth episode where she's blind now, but like they're both alive, thankfully, like her and her husband or whatever. And so yeah, it's one of those shows where, like I said, it's very much that that saying, path to hell paved with good intentions. It's very much that. Like, just because you're helping someone doesn't really mean you could be helping them. Just because you help them out with this one problem doesn't mean that it can't get much worse. And just because this horrible thing happened to you doesn't mean it has to, like, ruin everything. So, like I said, that does ruin a lot of things for you. Now, the ending is, I kind of saw it coming and I kind of didn't. Because I did expect him to kind of, like, even in the one of the trailers, it looks like he's maybe turning into a demon or something, but it's not the case. Actually, the ending is that the dragon was actually a human who had the similar thing happen to him, and that's what basically the Arisen are, is you get your heart eaten, and, if you let it consume you, like, they don't super go into details, but just enough to kind of where you get it, is that he manages to kill the dragon, but we find out the dragon is not, in fact, evil. It was that he was a human that also committed the sin of pride, he hints at. And that, well, you killed me, but guess what? You're now the next dragon. You're not going to have any control over it. And he mentions going kind of like in and out of consciousness and kind of like waking up to a hell of his own making. So it's that, and the ending is the pawn who Ethan gives the name Hannah, because that was what his mother's name, and he was going to name their baby if they had a girl. And so she kind of ends up developing emotions along the way, and he kind of ends up losing some of his humanity, or like, so you're going to see like the kind of like the worst, some of the worst of humanity. And it's one of those shows where it's kind of bitter. Now, I don't know if they're going to do another one, because they do leave it off in the way that it feels like an ending, but it also is like, it's not one big cliffhanger like dun dun dun, now they gotta fight the thing. Like, no, it's that he turns into the dragon, and Hannah goes along her way, and he kind of goes up into like where the dragon came out of this like swirly hole in the sky or whatever, and his last things he says is, please protect these foolish humans from me. And he flies up in that thing, and then we have Hannah, and you see her kind of walking along wearing the bracelets that Ethan and his wife had. So, like I said, it very much does feel like it's ended. This could be just the one series and it's ended. But I can also see it like maybe his story is over, but maybe Hannah's story is beginning. Like, I could kind of see it as like that. But I really liked it. I would definitely recommend watching it. Like I said, it looks good. It's very pretty. It's just, for me personally, 3D kind of like very much like that thing where I can't not notice the awkward movements of hair and shit. So, like, I first noticed that in the first episode where I'm watching Ethan talking to his wife and she's like preparing food or something. And I'm just like, oh fuck. Ironically enough, it was their lips, the way their lips were moving. I was like, is this like, no, this was like originally a different language, and why don't I do that one? I'll go look at the original language, and like maybe it's Japanese or something, and then turn out to the original language and have subtitles, and like it'll fix it. I won't notice it because it's in that language now. But no, it is in English. But just for whatever reason, it just feels weird to me. I mean, I think they do have other options like for subtitles and for like a dub. But I watched English with English subtitles. Nay, get your butt out of stuff, ma'am. Anyway, so now I'm going to watch. I was thinking of watching. Fuck, what was it? The Idhun Chronicles? Well, yeah, Chronicles. I don't know. It looks like it's in European Spanish is what it said as the language for the original. So I'm going to watch that with subtitles. Anyway, bye.